Hi, this is Paul McAndrew from the Wellness Station. Hope you're staying well. So today we're going to be addressing the fitness aspect of the three elements of the videos that I've been putting together on YouTube. The first is function, which is how do I do what I do and how well do I organize myself if I'm reaching for something. Can I feel how my rib cage opens up on one side, folds in on the other side? I can even feel my opposite hip coming up, which can you see how that tips this shoulder higher? So women love this lesson because they're shorter usually and they're reaching in the kitchen all the time, and that molasses, the salt that they have, the big box of salt that they have to refill the shaker with, they're like, oh man, trying to get that thing, and they're pulling like this rather than. So it's actually one of the lessons that I get the most positive feedback from people, especially, again, as I said, women. So function, and then how we integrate that function and add resistance, that's going to be fitness. And then the third F word is fun, and those are various things like storytelling, dance, etc. I want to go to the fitness part, but just in a moment. I'd like to read to you, and this kind of overlaps into the fun, inspirational part. I'd like to read something to you from this book by John O'Donohue. It's called Beauty. Subtitle is Rediscovering the True Sources of Compassion, Serenity, and Hope. John O'Donohue passed away quite a few years ago now, in his 50s. Very unfortunate. Just check it out. You can get his books on Amazon. Incredibly uplifting. So I want to read a little something from his introduction on the subject of beauty. And then I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a fitness move. Maybe I'll just kind of give you a preliminary kind of experience of this. We're going to be addressing how you can actually bend and strengthen your body overall, and eventually getting it into a very fluid kind of a movement. But we're going to be doing that in just a minute. So this is from John O'Donohue. The human soul is hungry for beauty. We seek it everywhere. In landscape, music, art, clothes, furniture, gardening, companionship, love, religion, and in ourselves. No one would desire not to be beautiful. When we experience the beautiful, there is a sense of homecoming. Some of our most wonderful memories are of beautiful places where we felt immediately at home. My mom took, at that point there were three of us. My mom eventually had 6 children. But when there were 3 of us, 2 older brothers and myself, up until I was 12, we used to go to the beach almost every day in the summertime. Gosh, it was just an amazing time of the feeling of the waves and watching the seagulls and the warmth of the sun. Yeah, beautiful memories. We feel most alive in the presence of the beautiful, for it meets the needs of our soul. For a while, the strains, and this is really apropos for the times that we're dealing with, for a while the strains of struggle and endurance are relieved, and our frailty is illuminated by a different light in which we come to glimpse behind the shutter of appearances the sure form of things. I love that. In the experience of beauty, we awaken and we surrender in the same act. I'm going to read that again. In the experience of beauty, we surrender and awaken in the same act. Beauty brings a sense of completion and sureness. Without any of the usual calculation, we can slip into the beautiful with the same ease as we slip into the seamless embrace of water. Something ancient within us already trusts that this embrace will hold us. So how apropos for these challenging times, and being from Durham, North Carolina, beautiful area of the world. We have Duke Forest just a few blocks away from us, every morning and afternoon, and oftentimes in between, we take our dogs and go for a walk in the woods, and everything's just exploding, the dogwoods, and we have a garden out front loaded with bachelor buttons and larkspurs, flowers, and it's just an amazing time. And someone said something like spring appears almost like in the blink of an eye, and doesn't it seem that way? You feel like you're walking through the woods throughout the winter, and you can see I can see the dogs where they are running really far, because the pine trees are there are many pine trees, but the deciduous trees, there's no leaves, and so you can see really far. And then all of a sudden, it seems like overnight, I can't find my dogs. I can hear them because the leaves have all filled in the space, and it's just this beautiful green. And of course, the Carolina blue, the Carolina from Chapel Hill, the Carolina UNC team, they're the Blue Devils, and their color is the sky blue. It's really, no, excuse me, Duke is the Blue Devils. Oh boy, some UNC fan is going to be hitting me upside the head. The UNC color is more the sky blue, more like similar to my shirt. Okay, so to resistance, adding resistance, using body resistance to strengthening. Very important. I'm going to go through this briefly. Very important that you pay a lot of attention to how you're doing what you're doing. Do not get caught up in what so many trainers will say to people, use that core, use that core. Yes, you're definitely using the core, but you want to use that core as a very supple, fluid piece of your body, component of your body. You do not want to use it where you brace it and then try and move. So watch that. Say supple and fluid, and then you'll never have any issues with strengthening. So if you stand and you reach out in front of you and want to keep your balance, you're going to send your pelvis back. So another way of thinking of that is, if I want to bend and not have my knees go forward over my toes, I want to have my knees, in fact, have the lower leg bones stay vertical, not tip forward. You want it to stay vertical. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sit back. Can you see how my knees are not going over my toes? They're staying right where they are, and my lower legs are straight, up and down, vertical, as I sit back, and I'm going to reach out. Now the reason I'm reaching out is so that I can sit back and keep my balance. As I sit back, if I didn't reach out at some point, I feel like I'm going to fall backwards. So there we are. So now I'm going to pick up some weight. This is 5 pounds. When I go over, I can feel that I'm hinging at the hip joints. So I'm going to show you with the plastic spine in just a moment. So I'm bending at the hips. I'm not bending in my back. My tailbone is going back behind me and kind of up. My pubic bone is dropping down and almost going through my legs. Now imagine a string pulling my pubic bone forward and up as my tailbone tucks underneath me. And of course that comes from a push from the feet. So the way that looks is, as you watch right here, the hip joint. If I had 3 hands, I could be holding that as well. But as you go down, it looks like that. And then you tuck and you come back. And where you're hinging is right here. The socket's rolling over the top of the ball and then coming back up. When you come back up, you're pushing up with the buttock muscles, strongest muscles you've got. You're pulling up with your stomach muscles. The strongest combination that you have of any 2 muscle groups, the strongest combination you have of any 2 muscle groups working together are the buttock muscles and the stomach muscles. Not surprisingly, because as upright beings, We're often getting down to grab something. Now, where's that power come from? It comes from the stomach muscle pulling in front, pulling the pubic bone up. It comes from the pelvic gluteus maximus, the buttock muscles, pulling the tailbone down and thrusting the pelvis forward. And so, whoop, so you can have something very heavy in your arms and up you come. And that's what you're doing with the weight in your arms. So play with that. Make sure that the knees stay over the toes. Imagine the space between the first two toes and have a light from your knee pointing. Okay, so if I have my toes turned out here, I don't know if you can see my feet. Let's see if you can see my feet. Yeah. Okay, if I have my toes really turned out, I want my knees really turned out. So wherever my feet are facing, the knees are going over them as I go down. Now, the next time when we get together with this, we're going to actually bring it into a circular motion. But that's to be addressed. Okay, take care of yourself. Remember, move better, feel better, stay well. Love you.